Hello. Welcome to a new live stream. My name's John Skippy Limcool. Welcome. So I have returned from the far European regions. Audio is working. Good. Good to know. Try to get everything working so that I don't have, it's really funny. I took my big ring light that I have here for natural lighting. I took it to Germany and then I didn't use it and I didn't want to pack it back because I had to get on a train to Berlin. And so I had a little care package made at Tom and Music to be mailed back to me. So it's going to be mailed back to me, but it's not been mailed back yet. So greetings, Big E, Bruce, out and about. So I hope you all are doing well. Life is treating you well. Yeah, so for this live stream, I have a good customer question on a programming tip. I'm going to do a highlight for a library that I enjoy a lot that I wanted to share a little bit, just kind of a reminder. What light do I use? I use like a 10-inch ring light over here on the side. And right now I just have this little tiny smaller light, which is actually for my iPhone. But it's providing some light. I mean, without it, it's really bad. So lighting is so important. When we were in Germany, I'll show you pictures in a minute. They had these lights, this one light that's just incredible, natural, perfectly calculated for cameras and stuff. $7,000 for this one light that they had. So, yeah, if you turn this off, it's like, oh, where'd you go? But having it up and, maybe here on the side or something like that is where it should be. But I don't have the tripod set up and all that to do all that and whatever. So you have to just take it the way it is, right? All right. So where do we start? Let me do this. I want to get over here. And if you have questions, pop up questions, because I love to do, customer question time, so we could look at what's going on and see what questions you might have. Let's see. So the question is this. We'll get to this in a bit. I don't feel like doing this quite yet because this will take a bit of work, but I'm Johnny from Sweden. You have awesome stuff to Omnisphere that I have bought few. So you're like some converter being used here, I think. I wonder how to make morphing sounds with Omnisphere. I have tried to find a few days, and it seems you know almost everything. And, well, yes, I do know almost everything about Omnisphere. Yes, well, not... There's still lots I'm sure I don't know. So I hope you can help me out. It's like maybe 3-4 kinds of sounds morphing into each other, not all at the same time, for great ambient sounds. And it just so happens I've been working on a library called Signs of Life, which has ambient sounds. So I think we will have a little programming time. Let's see here. Howdy, welcome back. Let's see, any Omnisphere update, any news? I have no news. They tell me only what they tell the public. So that's where I get my information, just to keep things above board and legit. So there's no announcement date so far. Involved in Kyra? No, I am not. I did a video on Kyra, which is part of this trip to Germany. Oh yeah, the live stream last week. Bill's talking about the opening in the open area. They have this. I'll show you. I'll give you this tour, this video tour in a minute. We did a live stream with some of the different YouTube people that were there. So this thing that we went to, just to give you a recap, in case it's Tom and Music is technically, actually, I think by statistics, the second largest store in the world. I think, from my understanding, Guitar Center, with their online Musician's Friend, I believe is the name, is #1 in the world consecutively. But they have a huge music store in this little tiny town of Treppendorf, Germany. It's outside of Frankfurt. And they did this last year. This gentleman by the name of Henning, who has a YouTube guitar channel, did this last year for guitar players. And it was, I guess, a big enough success that they said, let's do it again, but we want to change and have it with keyboard players. And so what they do, the concept is, it's kind of like a mini trade show. They invite manufacturers. The manufacturers pay a fee to help pay for flying all of us that are involved with YouTube, have channels, can be what you call an influencer, to Germany to meet with the manufacturers, see all their products. They've got 3 studio spaces that are 4K, 4 camera, running, that we can slot hours, slot times, and make any video on anything we want. It could be about anything new, anything old. They had all sorts of old synths there. And quite honestly, I sat down and played Kyra, and it had such a great sound to it. I wanted that to be the first video that I did. And then Korg has some really cool stuff going on, and I'm still involved with Korg, and so I wanted to show a little love to the Korg family and did a video that's just been uploaded yesterday on the Minilog XD, which is a badass little synthesizer. It's got a DSP area, so if you're into DSP programming, and if you're not, you can find stuff online that are code engine type things. There's open source for a couple different things that you can put into Minilog to make it have new forms of synthesis. Sign Vibes, a friend of mine from the Ukraine, his name's Artemi, has this thing called Bend. It's like a new form of synthesis he came up by. It's like FM with filtering in a unique kind of way. It makes a really unique sound. So that is an available oscillator inside of the Minilog if you want to buy it. Some are free, I believe. And you can also upload your own custom modulation effects. So we did that. We played with the waveguide based drum Volca, which is really cool. And then I was with a guy named Kabuki, who's a really cool musician, artist, and he stepped us through the Volca little modular. It's West Coast, and I'm not that hip on all the terminology, and so West Coast was kind of an eye-opener to me. It's not subtractive synthesis. It's actually a different form of synthesis, more starting from sine waves and then building up from there with modulation, wave shaping modulation, other types of modulation. So if you haven't seen those videos, they're very informative. There's the video work that these guys do are great. Hey everybody, welcome. Yeah, the Kyra sounds really great. Really, the filter on that thing is just like, wow. And I have a video coming up soon on the Moog 1, which is another kind of wow synth. I don't very often have an opportunity to play that synthesizer, and so I wanted to do a video on it. And I haven't edited that one yet, but I hope it comes out good. But I thought what I would do is kind of give you a picture show. I have pictures and I have some video to show you this event, kind of in a unique way, let's say, right? So to start with, let's do this. Let's hide everything there. This is the airplane taking off out of Portland. I had three flights. Went from Portland to San Francisco to Zurich, which I believe, oh, there's Gaz. Here's Zurich. And that big red thing down there is a self-cleaning little mopper sweeper machine that they have. I loved seeing all the different locations on this map. It's just like, we're not in Texas any longer, right? So it was really cool to see all this for all these places. The hotel, when we finally got to Treppendorf, a nice room. It's really nicely laid out. There was a dinner. Here's like people hanging out. Some of these are people you probably recognize. There are like 25 people that are with lots of followers on YouTube doing all sorts of things. This guy here, Sam, is just a nut. And Simon the Magpie. Bo Beats. There's Dr. Mix around here somewhere. This is Sounds and Review. That's Jake Swopes. There's Multiplier, who's a guy from the UK that does a lot of dubstep, dance, techno, all sorts of great things. So all these people came, did videos, hung out. This is the view out the back window. This is us in the tent. And I'll show you the video of the tent in a minute. And then this is inside of Tommen's actual music store part. And it's incredible. It's just an awful lot of synthesizers because it's just like they have studio spaces set up so you can see things. They have all sorts of sound panels attached on the wall so you can see, feel, touch the different panels. I wanted a whole bunch of different ones there, so it was pretty cool. There's the Kyra and the live stream. There's my schedule for what I booked for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is what the studios look like. As you'll see in a minute, I'll play the video. They are this house that's on the Tommen properties. This massively huge 5-6 football. I don't know how big it is. It's just so big, massively sized place. But this one building had rooms that they have set up as 3 different 4K studio rooms. As you can see, there's 2 cameras here from above. There's a camera right here to the right that's facing head on. And then here on the left is a cameraman actually zooming in, zooming out, focusing on things so that they could, in the control room here, they can switch between all sorts of different settings, the color balance, the different cameras. This is while they're doing a Native Instruments video. These 2 guys here are part of the Native Instruments team, Michael being silly. But you see on the right, this is the cameras. You see right here how it shows that with the green background. That's the green screen. But this is what it looks like to what you see in the video. They actually screen out the background so they could put the interface of Reactor on the screen. So they're building something. I did something with these guys. I can't show what they're talking about. You're not supposed to know about any about this stuff that's going on until April 8th. So we'll stop talking right there. This is the layout, and down here is kind of like the main area in the stores, and then up here is this huge warehouse. It's crazy. Here I am before doing the Moog 1. This is beet gnocchi with meat sauce. Then some photos. There's a concert, a live techno show. That's Cuckoo and Rachel Collier and myself and more crazy people. We had such much fun doing mustaches and, you know, crazy pictures. This is part, I'll play a second of this. We did a flash mob-esque kind of thing on Axel F with melodicas. I believe that's going to show up on Dr. Mix's website. This is Claudio. He's a crazy guy. If you haven't seen it, go find Dr. Mix, see his video on he did, I think it's Around the World from Daft Punk with the Moog 1. It came out really good. It's really cool. Then just some photos from the beauty of this area is really quaint. It's a small village of like 200 people, and then all these people show up every day to work. And then the last night, I actually got to have a tour of this. It's like a castle kind of thing, but it's made out of wood. It's not like castle out of moats and stone and stuff. But it was 300 years old. And look at the decorations on the ceiling. Just insane details. That's what the castle looks like. And then they built a hotel over here where we're staying. And then over here, they were going to build a golf course. But in the 60s, 70s, the baron that owned it fell on hard financial times. And it cost an awful lot of money to keep the castle up. And so he sold it. He now lives in a village down the road, I guess, or something like that. So it's pretty funny. But the artwork in this place, just, I mean, he's got a drum built into his back, you know? I mean, it's just like so much detail and stuff like that. Another picture of what the castle place used to look like. More crazy photos, being silly. Then I did portraits. When I go to the NAMM show, I do this too. I love to take portrait pictures. And so I got out my Sony camera with my narrow depth of field lens. I'm going to put these online. This is a cat. This is Annie, who lives here in Portland. And he has a YouTube channel where he does modular stuff, and you never see his face. And he's He's Asian. He's small. You see his hands. A lot of people there were like, where is she? Because they thought Aunt Annie was, because of the name, a girl. And it's actually a guy named Eli. And he's actually lives in Portland. We were on the exact same flights. We ended up in, I think we've met each other when we were in Zurich, when we got off the flights there. No, Neumann, Germany. That was the last flight. And I met him. It's like, where'd you come from? Portland. You too? Really? And so we were on the same flights. We'd never met each other before. We both love Fire on the Mountain. We're going to do some videos together as far as to, I think the Arturia with the rack for modular stuff is coming. So we're going to show the Arturia Mini Brute 2 with modular stuff. All sorts of cool things are going to be happening because of this trip. It's just incredibly cool. Mark Doty, Automatic Game Say. More people, their portraits that I took. That's Rob Papin. I had an opportunity to interview him, which was really great. So a video coming out is an interview with him. There's JW Swopes. This beast, man, this thing sounds so good. This is one synth I wouldn't mind picking up at some point. The Andromeda A6. It's nice. Tom. More people. I just love how the detail on this camera is just so great. So this is Henning. This is the cat that kind of started the whole thing. You should find his website too. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe in the description for this, I'll put everybody's websites. Cuckoo, very talented guy. If you CUCOO, I can't remember what his. I'll put YouTube channels, but he does some really great reviews. Tons of creative stuff. Very creative guy. They did with him and Rachel, which is where there's Rachel. The two of them got into a Tesla, drove around in the forests of Germany and Bavaria and wrote song together. So there's videos like that. This is Jade. She has a channel. She does stuff with modulars and so forth. Here's other pictures of the gear. That's Rachel. Bo Beats, talented guy. And Sam. And you have to check out Sam, just because I don't know if I've ever met anybody more creative than this cat. He has a Furby synthesizer where he modified Furbies. He has I just did a video that he uploaded where he took an old vintage piece of gear that's passing frequencies, but it's on bands. He built a mixer, ran every band into it, feeds sounds and noises into it. He's got knobs for every frequency, and there's like, I think, 32 frequencies that it's divided into. It's incredible. One of the things that they did is at the music store that I showed you the pictures of, they did a Mega Drone. And so I will show you the video, if I can get this to work, of the Mega Drone. Let's see how this works. If I put this over here and say load, okay. And we can say close this. The idea was that there's all of these keyboards at Tom and Music. They are all connected, so you can hear them. They all have little sets of speakers like Guitar Center and stuff, right? Well, what if you were to take tape and tape down hundreds of notes in A? So that's what they did. Anywhere you see tape, see all those pieces of tape? Oh, they had an $8,000 binaural audio head that they borrowed from the microphone department, spinning, and they're whispering. You'll have to see. I think this is on Look Mom No Computer. That's Sam's channel on YouTube. You got to follow him. Check him out. But they have the making of. This is just me. I was getting ready to do a video. I actually had to go to the bathroom. And I walked into the door to where the music store is. And there's guitar departments and drums and pianos. And then the synthesizer department's like way in the back. This was so freaking loud that the whole place sounded like an alarm was going off. It was insane. So I had to go see what it was, get out my camera, and but look at all the notes held down. And then Mark Doty, Automatic Gainsay, in the video, if you go watch the full video, he taped up the Hammond B3. So there's all these notes holding notes with Leslie on. So that was just one of the, when saying, please make a video for us type of thing, it's not necessarily about doing a video on just, you know, like we did of a review or something like that. Other ones they did, they used like over about a kilometer of guitar cable to see if there was any degradation in sound. They also did this. This is 314 guitar effect pedals, all connected. What does it sound like? All these pedals are connected. All those pedals are connected. All those pedals are connected. Then it runs along here. And then they get to the guitar pedal effect room. Yes, it's a wall of sound. Took him 8 hours or so, I guess.
158, 159, 160, 160, 161.
So they hooked up 161 at that point. They ended up being a total of 300 when it was done. I guess 314. So that was one of the things. Another thing that was done, I told you about, you saw the picture of Claudio doing the, whatever it is. This is using, I downsized it, but this is video from my DJI video. But we did a flash of Axel F. So this was a rehearsal take. That's just the two of them playing. Then it goes to percussion, then we all join. He had a battery powered, or maybe not, but a reface.
A 2, a 3, a 4.
And I learned the limiter on the DJI recorders sucks. You heard that clamp down on the audio, right? So there's like 6 cameras going or more. He's got a GoPro on the end of his melodica. So. So it was fun. I mean, my goodness, these guys are just a lightning bolts of creativity. So it was really fun to be a part of such a cool event. Let's see here. What else do I have? Oh, the tour. You ready for the tour? I'll give you the tour. So this is, let's see, which one do I want to start with? I think we're starting with this one first. Let's see what it looks like. This is the long one for the whole layout. So this is, I think I talk actually in this. Okay, I'm going to give you a tour of this incredible campus here. So if I spin this around. So those 3 tents are where the manufacturers are set up. These tents are where the manufacturers are set up. See? Told you. This is the, and look at the artwork. Isn't that cool? the entrance to Tom and Music, the music store part. So like during the work day, people are showing up and parking and going in there to buy musical instruments, guitars, pedals, drums, effects. Let's go into the music store first. And I believe this is considered the largest music store in the world. 2 receptionists. Cheers. Now, this area right here is where the live stream was held last week, was sitting in these sofas. Here's one of the studios for live streams. See? Boy, I know this pretty well. Good. Yeah. This is just headphones, this area right here, by the way. Keyboard headphones. There are pianos down here. And this doesn't include grand pianos. This is just the spinets and the uprights. There's a whole other area with grand pianos. It's even fancier and beautiful. We go up another pair of stairs. Accordions. Look at all the brass instruments. Don't forget, if you break it, you buy it. Okay? Don't forget. And everything in here is hooked up with speakers.
How much is this thing worth?
We're able to use an €8,000 binaural Neumann head, and what we're going to do is.
So they're getting ready right here to make, in fact, part of that, what Sam is saying, they end his video. It's really funny. I just realized that.
A mega drone. That is right. We're going to make mega drone. All in the key of E, no, A, and then we're going to take it all going crazy. So yeah.
So that's Heinbach, who's another wonderful YouTube person that does videos on, he loves to do stuff on modular. And then here are the studios. Studio 1, here's Studio 2. I think that's I promise I'll do the dishes if I can buy these speakers. Kind of an arrangement going on right there. They have sound panels up. So you choose the kind of sound panel you want. I want one of everything. Oh. Sorry. Okay, let's go outside. This is considered like the biggest music store in the world, I heard. I believe it. Hello. What are you? Silly American. All right, let's go to the tents. The smoking space. Having a good break. Dude.
And they just start going.
Yeah, and then that's the time.
So you see all these different manufacturers. There's like 20 different manufacturers in the tent area. You could just walk up and say, I want to do a video with that, and with that, and with that. People were doing things with Behringer synthesizers that are not out yet. Innovation. And I said Rob's name wrong here. I apologize. Is Mr. Poppin'? It's not poppin'. It's silly. Beautiful. Modal was there showing really cool gear. I want one. Moog. Here's Moog. Electron. What do you think? What do you think?
It's too good for real life.
I know, right? Mr. Arturia. And then I can take you. There he is. And Annie. So this is the road, and right here, see this little green building? I'm gonna jump to one of the other videos, I believe, because actually I can show you this. There's also an area beyond this that I did a, here we go. I did a little bit of a, I didn't know it at the time, but I was doing a time lapse and I've played it, I've slowed it down. This is me walking up to the place. It's this big round building that's a cafeteria, and below are 3 smaller studios. Like the introduction video that I made was in the smaller studios. So like this is, behind me is the music store and the tents. So if you go up this road here, and this is all Tommen property. This is all music store property. There's cows. I don't know all these people that are there, but this is where we ate lunch and dinner and hung out a lot. That's where we also did like the the flash mob thing for the Axel F. Really fun. Continuing on to the studio layout. This is part 2. This shows, I believe. Yeah, this is us walking from the music store into the building, so you can see inside of it. It's quite campy. Yes, this is Tommen Music. Hey. So this is Henning's tour. We just gotten there. This is the first day of it, explaining the concept. So we're seeing the rooms where we'll be doing these videos if we want to. And you don't have to do videos. There was never any pressure ever. It wasn't that type of event. It was just a great hang. And hey, you know, if you like our products and you want to show them to the people that are subscribed to your channel, we appreciate it, you know? So it's really cool.
German.
You love this place?
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good place. There's a lot to see here.
It's a quintessential German.
And I'm trying to learn how to run my little DJI Pocket Osmo thing, so I'm pushing the buttons wrong and stuff at times.
That's fucking cool. So how many dead bodies do we have to remove?
there's a wall that shouldn't be there and it should be thicker, but it is. We have to measure it, and there's a whole video of us trying to find out why this room smaller than the other.
So that was video 1. And for some reason, I need to go to video 2. So let's see here. Go Logic. Layout 2. And get this to be like. So here we are walking up the stairs so you can see what the layout is like. So we can't practice breakdancing while we're doing our videos?
So here again, similar setup.
Is that what a dead body
Same
does?
setup in there.
The editing suite.
Yeah, the editing suite.
So he has a mixer for all the audio coming in. He's got it right in front of him is the Black Magic for switching between one camera to another. It's top of the line gear. They have this massive hard drive. So you bring in high-speed SD cards, you give it to him. They record the whole thing and give it to you as a composite with switching from one camera to another, as well as separate stems of the audio without processing because they have a ducking. Anytime when we were playing a synth, if you tried to talk, it's like you can't hear it because they duck the microphone to keep the synth up. So I would actually, in the videos that I've posted so far, I load the audio channels separate up and then crank their volume and have them only play at the parts where I'm talking when the synth is playing and you can't hear my voice, to try to keep my voice in so you can hear what I'm saying. But yeah, it's a cool system. When it's done, gives you the card, you go back to your computer and you copy it over to your computer and then work on it either there or when you get home or whatever. So I've uploaded 2. I've got 3 more to upload. Sweet. Nice.
Those are controllers. Right. Yeah. 2 of them. Yeah.
Cushions over the heaters.
So you see the cameras with great feedback. Funky rooms, old wallpaper, furniture with synthesizers on it. It was really, really, really cool to have a funky place to hang out and kind of have a fun vibe. So it's not just, you know, sterile like this room. I'm actually, this kind of got me inspired. I'm going to be doing some work to try to get my own studio space here. More souped up, more looking like it's worthy of being a plug and glue studio, right? So I got to work on that. So anyway, so after that, I mean, there's so much to that event. Did I have, I maybe I didn't because the audio wasn't so good, but there was a whole techno concert that these guys put on that was really great. Yeah, I don't think I have any video of that. No. And I showed you the drones and all that stuff. Okay, so after that, on Monday morning, the event ended Sunday. Monday morning, I took a train. That's the House of ARP I saw in Berlin, which is really cool. I like that name. Here's one of my, if you don't follow me, there's a Plug and Guru Instagram channel. Please follow there if you want. There's always videos going on and stuff like that happening that I do. Let's see here. Let me get this big enough so I can see what's going on and arrange by name. So I got to Berlin. It's really a cool place. It was crazy to get off the train. I kind of forgot that feeling. It's happened in Japan before, where you get off a train, you don't know anybody, you don't know where you are, you don't know the language. And so the first thing you do is you look for an information sign. And you say, how do I get there? This is a photo. I had this recorder with me for the trip. And I have some really cool audio. So some of that's going to make it into Signs of Life and some other things. So this was this isn't the square format, but I did this for Instagram. Here's the Berlin station, the train station, walking around in Berlin. It's beautiful. Really cool artwork on the sides of some of the buildings. I really love this building with that like Vulcan, Valkyrie kind of a look. I had opportunities because, so here's the thing. I have known as a communicative friend, Urs Heckman, the founder, owner, and operator of Uhi, probably over 15 to 20 years or so. Before audio units, we were friends and talking through like internet chat of some sort back in the day about how he was one of the first guys to fully support audio units when that format came out from Apple. And that really helped his early success. He brought out a synthesizer called Zoid. I did patches for it. It's free. I think you can still find it around. But we've been friends since then. And so it was really cool to go to Berlin and meet Urs and Howard Scar, who's just one of the most amazing synth programmers on the planet, and in my regard, he might be the best synthesizer programmer living today. Just for what the TikTok of the gold watch in Dunkirk is Zebra, made by Howard over 3 days to make it, and he separated out the components so I could hear it. I mean, it's insane. So it was very cool to meet and hang, and he played. If you don't have a Zebratron library for Zebra, if you have Zebra, you should get the Zebratron library for Zebra. It is mind-blowing. It's got conga drum loops and all sorts of things you would think were loops that are synthesis, because there's no samples inside a Zebra, and it's just doing just insane things. So it was a great treat to get to go to hang out with them, have dinner, become closer friends, meet in person. It was really awesome. Let me see. Are there any questions by you guys? Hi there. Yeah. Compared to Tom, what is the biggest store in the USA? Well, there's a lot of big guitar centers, but the guitar centers that, like even the one in Hollywood, like that is almost about the size of just the guitar room at Tom and Music. So it's like, there's no comparison to scale. It's a whole different thing. Then after that, I was able to walk around and see some of the sites in Berlin, which are beautiful. So I got to see some cool buildings, and they're under construction, but the light was really nice. Graffiti on walls. I love that kind of stuff, and there's lots of cool graffiti in Berlin. It was really fun. Flying back, I get to Newark, New Jersey, where every freaking chair is screwed to the floor, and there's an iPad in front of you that you can order food from and then play games and stuff like that. And the food is way overpriced, $20 for a hamburger. Down here's a Wendy's. I got a cheeseburger from them because I wasn't going to spend $20 for a burger. But I finally got home to my puppy, and so the trip was complete. So it was a fun trip. It was, I've been to lots of trade shows, 30 years of NAMM shows, and I've never been to a show like this. It was really unique, very special. So, yeah, the Sweetwater, yeah, that's probably pretty big. Is it biggest? You know, I don't know if they're the biggest. That's their claim, and I don't know if that's because of the biggest just size of the stores. I don't know if that's for the physical one store. Whatever, you know. Anyway, so that was the trip. If you have any questions, shoot them up and I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to get a little set up here, and we're going to look at how we can crossfade from one sound to another for ambient type of applications. See, that's crossfading. Done. Just by Beautifully Broken. You'll be happy. By the way, there's still a sale going on for another week at the website. This is 10 years in business. This was the month I started 10 years ago with Plugin Guru, so we're having a nice big fun sale. So grab some savings while you can if you want. we're going to do this. Let's go over to samples. Let's start with just a composite of 2 sounds that we want to segue between. We want to fade in and out. There's a couple ways to do this. Let's go to Signs of Life. We'll play with a couple of these new sounds that I've made. Say we want to segue between this. Let's say 32 notes of polyphony. And on layer B, we want to choose a different sound from here. Let's go to Signs of Life. And let's say we want it to be more like, maybe like, how about rain? And let's high pass filter this so that it's not quite so clunky. So we want to have a pad that goes away to just rain, basically, right? So one way to do this that's pretty easy is to go to A. Let's turn off B for a second. And just right click and say modulate with an LFO. And you can put your value somewhere in the middle. And then you're arranged to about half of that. And get your speed where you want it. For me personally, I like the triangle instead of the sine wave because it's always gradually changing. The sine wave, there's a place at the very top where it rests for a minute. Right? Now, if I wanted this to fade out longer, I could take it softer in volume. So it actually goes below 0 and then it keeps going. But because its value is 0, that means the sound is gone. So let's go over to B now. And what we can do is let's go to the volume. And instead of saying modulate with an LFO, you go down here to your mod sources and you choose LFO 1. Do a similar thing where you're about in the middle, about equal value like this. But instead of it being in this same range, doing the same, right now, they're both going to, let's do this. It's like this. If I have it like this, they're both going to fade out and then come back. If I go to B, and here it is for B, and I hit invert, this means it's going to do the opposite of A. And then to make it a little smoother, a little more interesting, you could go to delay. And now, what's nice with this, if I wanted it to be slower, I just have to slow down one LFO because it's controlling both of those at the same time. Right? So that's one approach that's pretty easy because you can set it up really quickly. You just say 2 sounds. You can say initialize. You could say I wanted to do just say a sawtooth, and I could say a square. Oh wait, come back here to, I hit the wrong button. Undo that. What did I do? Come back. Thank you. I think I hit the delete key by accident. And so it made everybody go away. So really quickly, if you want to do this even faster, just to 2 sounds, say that A is a sawtooth, B is a square. And just say like modulate with LFO. And then go to the second one and don't say modulate with LFO. You have to go to the list and say the same one and invert it. Set them about in the middle for each one. And then invert one. And then you can change the different waveforms if you want it to be random. Are they both inverted? I inverted both of them. That's what's going on. So, there. So now it's going between a sawtooth and a square. Very quickly. So you can do smooth, or you can do more of the transition things like that I was showing you. Okay, now if you want to get more complex, if you're doing 4 parts or 3 parts, that gets a lot trickier because I'll do it with samples again, because doing it with waveforms is going to just make my ears. What is that library you're working on? It's a library that's not out yet. It's one I'll be releasing later this year called Signs of Life, which has ambiances and cool sounds, modular synthesizer sounds I've made. So let's say we want to have an environmental, and we want to also have, say, let's have that. Turn on. Oh wait, it doesn't loop. That's what I was curious about. Is if it. Oh, let's see. Turn off C. So a sine wave. Let's just do a simple sine. And then sharing. Okay. And then D will be noise. And let's have this doing a filter thing. Modulate as an LFO. But now, since I said do that, it set it to 1. We could do 1 because we don't have anything else assigned to it. Okay, so how would you segue? Well, to start with, turn on the link right here to set up the basic shape because you want it to be probably pad. Oh. Right? So then you can turn off link since we kind of got the layout. And then you have probably, I would suggest zooming out and doing things where you right click and say add to add additional segments. Maybe use lock so that if you move, you can move things around. There's no way to superimpose on top of each other, which would be helpful to see what the other layers are doing. So you have to kind of picture it in your mind. And these, I don't know why, but these notes just don't accurately let me grab them sometimes. So let's turn on loop. And by turning on loop, that means when it gets to this point right here, it loops back to the beginning. Let's have this one be like 4 pulses. And then we'll add some segments and hit lock. So and loop this one and let's say that we have this one do a pulse. So we could go rhythmic. Let's say we have it do just, let's see here. Quirky Gator. And if we hit sync, and if we actually wanted to, we could actually go in here and hit this to snap, so that way this follows into a clock value. So it takes a lot of work. This is very rough and would take a lot more time spent going, what do I want each of these sounds to do, you know? Let's have the sound effect one start really loud and then snap to have it slowly fade out. And then it's gonna have some, let's see, turn off lock so we can just have it pop up some. And then click right here for the curvature. Click right here for the curvature. Turn on loop. So I had a customer asking about how to make sounds that transition from one to another. That's kind of what we're trying to do. So I have 4 different envelope shapes. If you wanted to get into doing this far easier, I would suggest the new plugin from Rob Papin that just came out is actually really great at this type of stuff. It's called Vecto. Let me show you that just for a second to show you why it's easier. Because Spectrasonics doesn't have built in anything quite like this for modulating in easy terms. With this, you have 4 oscillators. And here, if we turn this off, so vector is on, but not replay, let's just say direct. You just have to move this, and I'm smoothly going. Between 4 points. So this cancels out one and brings in the other just by where you move this red ball. And then if you want, you hit record. And then replay it. And then you have a speed control. Say 8th note. Oh, the steps is not enough. And poly loop start loops. Maybe I didn't set it right, so. There. Then you can just set loop to 1. And be doing all sorts of stuff like that. So there are other synthesizers which, if your goal is to like fade from one sound to another, might be a little bit easier than here. I think you could also with effects do things where you do a mod wheel to control volumes, but there's no XY pad to assign sounds in Omnisphere. So That's one area that it does not cover, but it covers so much other stuff. It's really not a big issue. So, but if you want to do that kind of stuff and do evolving things and stuff like that, then there are other options, as you can see. Yeah. Yeah. The orb is more for changing. If you turn it on, it doesn't really, as far as I can tell, I can't get it to like just be 4 isolated sounds that you're controlling. It pops in effects. You know, I'm not able to isolate it directly that way. There's nothing here that says just do volume for us. That would be pretty easy to add if they wanted to add something like that. And when you spin the dice, it adds all these additional effects, right? And there's inertia, so you can have it moving. Oh, they'll have to fix that. Hopefully for 2.6. Right now, Orb doesn't add effects to layers C and D, only A and B when you spin the dice. But this is more for sound change, not so much for vector synthesis. It's actually a type, the Prophet VS was one of the early ones that had the concept of like you're crossfading from one waveform to another easily with just a joystick. So they have a joystick on the keyboard that you work with. So that's similar to the concept that you have in Vecto. This could do that. You could do that kind of stuff in Zebra pretty easily. It has vector controls for the XY pads to do volumes or effects or all sorts of things. So you could do that there if you wanted to. Yeah. Skippy, in the modulation section, you have morphing source and morphing modulation A and B and AB X fade. How does that work? I don't know. Haven't used it. We could examine it real quickly. I might like, if we were to say, so you're saying if we had, let's see, I'm not on the right sound. Volumes down, modulate this. There's controllers. If we go to all mod sources, we see constant various things here. Morphing source, right? That's what you're talking about, right? So does that then mean the orb? See if I have this up, max. If I go to orb, turn on depth and inertia. Morphing source, and then something else would have to be this is something I don't even understand where the morphing source, what that would be. So yeah, let's not go there because I'm not. Oh, morphing source right here. Well, they're just showing waveforms, so it'd be an LFO. Check in target. Oh, the morpher has 2 inputs, 1 output. Oh, okay. I will have to study up on how to work that to show it because I am not familiar. I haven't used that, but that would allow you to segue between 2 sounds like the LFO kind of thing where you invert one, I would believe. Stuff like that. But again, I haven't used that parameter set, so I am not going to try to demonstrate it here because I'll just look really bad because I don't know, haven't used it. Any other questions? That was a good question. Stump Skippy, because I don't know. It's not something that I have used in the past. So if I haven't used it, I definitely don't know about it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else we should cover today. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Thank you, baby. Let's see. Let's see where. Let's see what's coming up. Oh, March 12th was the FMA Power Pack. Oh, March 2nd was Toxic Zebra. Interesting. Are you getting enough beer in Germany? I had some good beer. Yeah, definitely. Not a lot. I'm not a big drinker type of person. So, but I had, and I enjoyed beer. I enjoyed some nice red wine. It was a great trip. Food was really good. It was so much fun to see as much. I'm going to be going back, it looks like, in May for Super Booth. So I will be there for that. It'll be great. So if you guys are heading to Super Booth, we'll have to meet up. I can't announce anything yet, but there's a lot of good things in the work. Picked up any German? I had a few things already, you know, Dankeschön, bitte, all that, the basic, you know, greets and all that, but nothing that I'm going to repeat. I used to have a phrase that it's stuck in my brain, even though people in Germany can't understand it, so I'm not saying it right. But what was that? Like 18, 20 years ago for the Korg S3 and the Wave Station, I came to Frankfurt for Music Messe. And we did presentations with John Bowen, and I think that was with Jack Hotop at the time. Maybe it was Jordan. I can't remember for sure. But they taught me this phrase after I'd played my drum solo, Das Ting haut euch vom Hocker, which supposedly is this thing knocks you on your ass, like the low frequency of the drums and stuff. It'll kick you off your chair. But I say that to people, and they go, what? So I'm not saying it right, but you know, I have a few words I can say, but it's not a lot. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. I have a surprise library coming April 1st for you guys. It is not April Fool's. I think a lot of you are going to like it. I'm getting some sounds. I'll show you. I'll give you a teaser. This is for something that is in Reactor called Monarch. You guys familiar with that? It is a great synthesizer. And I've had a lot of people, and just like the last month, a whole bunch of people sent me messages saying, you got to do a library for Monarch. I love it. I use it and I need more basses. And so I was like, okay. So I'm not going to show you the interface other than for here at the beginning. It's just such a great in-your-face, right? I mean, it sounds good just when you start it up. But if you go over to the user, it's called Mega Monarch. And so I'm going to move over here because you can't see the presets. If I call it presets and you see this, it's just a couple button clicks and twists and stuff, and you'll have the settings for it. Big drones. I came up with some really cool things with chords. There's a feature where you can lock an oscillator to where it doesn't actually change. So this is the one in A. So if I play A, any note otherwise, there's an A that's always playing. So and as you can see, well, you can't see, but I have it for C and F. And G. So I've got some cool drum sounds that I've made. It's going to be a fun little library. That's a kick drum. So that will be out April 1st. Let me show you just real quickly a couple of the cool things inside this. If you have Monarch, I'll cover these probably in a future video as well, but a couple of things that are really great. This load and then the feedback, just those two things alone. See how it lights up? Turn these off. So this is coming out really cool. Little tiny library. Nothing huge, groundbreaking, but it's a lot of cool new sounds for a synth that I've liked for a long time. It's just like, why not get something put out? So that's coming in April. And there's all sorts of other things in the works. So I was just in Munich 2 days ago. Oh, how funny. Oh, yeah. Monarch will make your woofers wobble. All right, I'm going to check out. Let's do our shout outs. We haven't done shout outs in a while. There's 45 some of you guys hanging out. So shout out from PDX. I think the Blazers are playing tonight. They're doing great. There's a lot of good basketball going on that I'm looking forward to taking a break and watching a little of. Middle of Germany, right on, Mike. Camas, Washington, Stockholm. Nice, Woody. Good to see you guys. Long Island, Marcel in Holland. Bruce up there in Washington. Good to see you, my friend. Thailand, Coxon. It's late in the morning, right? It's like 4 a.m., something like that. You're crazy. Steve Seed, right on. Oregon. Woo! No, they were happy for me to come back. I was too much of a troublemaker. Shout out from Munich, Bavaria. Right on, Harold. Norway, right on, Ivar. Good to see you guys. Well, thank you for joining. It's good to see you all. I don't know if we'll do a live stream next week. It might be 2 weeks until we do the one for. Well, wait. That's actually probably next week is when we're. That is April 1st, right? So we'll probably do a live stream for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed Germany a lot. It was a really. I mean, I'd been to Frankfurt before. John Bonin and myself rented a car and we drove down to Zurich and we drove up the other side of Germany into the Black Forest, I believe. It was great. But it was nice to have a little bit more time. Oh, yeah. Well, that's not the case for all, Edward. We don't want to say stuff like that. There's good and bad people of all race, so don't go there. All right. See you guys later. Be well. Cheers. Happy beats. Happy sounds. You know. All right. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Stop streaming.